Hi guys, welcome back or welcome if you're new. My name is Tiana and I'm the maker behind Also Stitched, and today we have finally grand reveal of my biggest plushie I have ever made. And oh boy, this one took a while. First, when I got an idea that I want to make it, I thought of making a project vlog out of it, but I knew this is gonna take a month and I'm very bad with keeping track, filming daily for a month. That just wasn't how I work, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna have a sit down chat to you about the pattern and everything. I have backed up my camera today just so I can show it a bit because I still won't be able to fit it in frame. You have already seen all the footage of me holding it. We took some time to photo shoot and photograph it outside because that's the only way for me to actually show it to you, because it is massive. You have seen it against my body and I'm not small. I'm 5'6" or 168 centimeters, which is an average tall woman. So yeah, this is a beast. This is huge, this is massive, and I think it's even bigger than what the original designer did because I did it in a bigger yarn. So what it is and how it all started, well, my daughter is a huge fan of Avatar. I'm not. I know nothing about that movie. I know nothing about those blue aliens and their dragons. I've seen them, but it is just not my style and it's not the type of movie that I can watch. But she's a massive fan. On the day that Emmy published this video, my daughter saw it on TikTok. At the time, her TikTok was feeding her with anything Avatar. That was back in January. I think that was around 14th of January, and around that time Emmy actually published this pattern, or she was teasing it to be published. It was somewhere around that time, and my daughter came to me and said, I wanted this plushie. It is huge, it is big, would you like to make it for me? Oh boy, when I saw the picture, how huge this is and how much work for me that would be for such a giant plushie that is essentially just gonna be a dust collector in her room, I said yes, but under one condition. It's gonna be my showstopper for my upcoming Supanova market. I'm gonna talk about the Supanova market in the end of this video, so stay tuned. Yes, that's my Comic-Con gaming convention that is coming. Again, I'm back at Supanova, but this time different, so stay tuned for the update on Supanova. My only condition was I need that dragon as a showstopper for my con. I have no plans on selling it, but I'm gonna price it so high that it's not gonna sell. It's still gonna be yours after Supanova. And she agreed. I actually am gonna even put it on my website because when you are applying for markets, for Comic-Cons, conventions and things like that, it is actually good to have it as a showstopper even on website. So in case anyone wants to purchase it, feel free to visit my website. It's gonna be up there. Maybe not from the day you're watching it, or maybe could be. I'm not sure. I'm not sure when I'm gonna put it up, but it's gonna be heavily priced and I'm gonna talk about that later. We made agreement. She said yes, feel free. She was sad actually for a moment because she said, you're gonna sell it. I'm like, look, if I sell it, if there is a person who is willing to pay this amount of money, which I am sure there are people, because Emmy, the original designer, she's doing commissions for Ikran and other types of these dragons and she's selling them like crazy. So I'm sure that this dragon might sell, but oh well. I told her if it sells, I'm gonna make it one more and just for you. Never again. And that's it. That's it. I'm done with this dragon. So this dragon is by Emmy's Plushies. She is on TikTok, she is on Instagram, and she is on Etsy. Her Etsy shop is called Emmy's Plushies and Patterns. She is from United States, and since she released Ikran, she has also released a couple of different type of these dragons. Like I said, I don't know a lot about this dragon. My daughter told me that Ikran is like a general name for the dragon, and then each dragon is named as you name it. Since then, she has actually released a smaller version. I am thinking of making the smaller version in case people won't be able to afford the big one. People won't be able to afford the big one because wait until I tell you how much I have priced it. She also released the blue alien, the person, whatever it's called, the original name in Avatar. I don't know a lot about these things, so pardon me. I'm doing all of this for my daughter, just bear in mind. So I'm looking looking at her Etsy shop. She has a lot of new dragons that she has released, and she has bundles big and small now. So I'm gonna link all of those in the description. I'm gonna link the original pattern that I used, I'm gonna link the mini one, and I'm gonna link you the bundle in case you wanna check it out. That's how it all started. My daughter is huge fan of Ikran in general and Avatar movie, and we agreed that that's gonna be my showstopper, and I went online searching for yarn. I was looking through Emmy's yarn suggestions. I think she was doing it in Premier Parfait Plush. Let me just pull the pattern. So I'm actually reading off the pattern, just what her suggestions for the yarn were. So she suggests 6mm hook. I used 8. That's why mine plushie is so much bigger. And she is using Sweet and Snuggle slide. She's recommending 3 to 4 skeins in the main color, plus 1 in different colors if you're using whatever colors you're using. I use pink and white. So she is using lavender Sweet and Snuggle slide, white Premier Parfait Plush, and black Premier Parfait Plush, and glow in the dark yarn, which I'm gonna show you. I have all the yarns here, and based on what she was suggesting, I did my math just to calculate the meterage I'm gonna need for my yarn, because I was gonna use Moda Vera Blanket yarn. Moda Vera Blanket yarn is the thickest yarn we have here in Australia, and it is actually thicker than Bernat Blanket. But I knew the color selection was very limited, and that was back then when I did review on Yarnsmiths Snug as a bug. That's how that all yarn review came to fruition, because I was searching yarn for this plushie. So what I ordered 5 skeins of Snug as a bug plain blue color, because that's the color my daughter wanted. We went on the website, we searched for colors, and she wanted blue. The contrast color was pink and white. I didn't order that because I have those in Moda Vera Blanket yarn, and I have that in my stash. So originally I ordered 5 skeins based on the math that I did, because I went with a safe spot and ordered 5 skeins of this, because this has less meterage than Sweet and Snuggle slide, what she is recommending. And still I used 4 and something. This is not even half used. I think 1/3 of this was used. But when you consider that I also used pink and white and black, I think all in all, I used over 5 skeins of blanket yarn. There is not a lot of polyfill in this dragon, because all of the parts are wings that are laying flat and they are not stuffed. So starting with this plushie, I knew it's gonna be massive, because I'm using a 8mm hook while she is using 6mm hook. And another yarn that I used was also from Yarnsmiths. I was ordering everything from Wool Warehouse. I know that Lion brand has their own glow in the dark yarn, but I went with Yarnsmiths glow in the dark, and this is just a small skein. It is 50 gram skein with 53 meters, and it was very cheap. I mean, Yarnsmiths is in general a very cheap yarn, and it was on sale. You need this just from embroidery over the wings and the body. You can do whatever you want. I'll talk about that in a second. This project in general took me over a month, just from me procrastinating, because crocheting part was an easy part. I enjoyed that part. Pattern is very well written. Pattern is clear and easy. In general, this dragon is very easy to make, because it is done in parts. In the end, you're sewing all of these parts on together, and I have no issues with that. It was blanket yarn, easy to sew, easy to work with, and honestly, I always said that sewing is for me very relaxing. I don't mind sewing. The reason I was procrastinating was the embellishing part. This dragon has a lot going on its wing, back, face, whatnot, and that was the part where I was procrastinating, because I am very bad at freehanding things. When I opened this pattern, I was actually expecting to receive a cut file, or it doesn't have to be like a Cricut cut file, but at least a hand cut file where I can trace and do things that way, because like I said, I am very bad at freehanding things, because I cannot design, visualize things, and that was the part when I was procrastinating the most. And then I asked my daughter, how important are these things on its body? Is it something that is very signature, or is this all free-handed and they are all different? Essentially, she said they are all different. Those markings on it are unique to each dragon, and not a single dragon has the same markings. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. That makes my life easier because I don't have to make it exactly. In the end, I did make it exactly because, like I said, I can't freehand. I can't do things out of my head. I need to see things. So I was actually looking into each piece on her pictures and I was cutting the same. I was freehanding it. I think mine design was a bit thicker just because it's gonna be easier for me to cut and glue in the end. I'll show you everything in the end what I used, but the biggest part was procrastination because I was scared of that part. In the end, I actually enjoyed that part. I was able to mirror it by cutting 2 at a time, and it was easy. It was a whole day project. It took me a couple of hours to cut everything by hand. In the pattern, she is using felting method. Well, she is not explaining method. She's just saying that she will be using felting method. I have zero patience to do felting, so I went with a black felt that I was cutting, and then the color on top I use vinyl. Let me just quickly pull at least a part of it's her. She's sitting here in the bag next to me. This is just one wing. You see how huge this is? I won't be able to fit her, especially because I have a laptop in my lap. So, oh my god, this is gonna be a struggle. Let's see if I can do something like this. Okay. Let's have her like this so I can talk. The black parts are felt and then the color parts are HTV. I'm a crazy crafter. I went with all the crafts that exist in this world, and I have an enormous HTV and vinyl collection, and I actually use my HTV in my embroidery machine. So essentially I decided I'm gonna do HTV just because. In case you don't know what is HTV, it is heat transfer vinyl, which you need to use a heat press to press it on t-shirt, whatever material you want to do. The material that can withstand the heat, that's the important thing. This is HTV in case you're wondering, and this is the glitter one. I wanted a glitter because I wanted to give it a bit more color, a bit more fun, and essentially my daughter was choosing this and she said yes to glitter. So for example, here on the wings I have blue, pink and purple, and these are the colors that I was using. It was really easy to heat transfer it on felt. I didn't have to hold it very long. I was holding it only for 10 seconds because I didn't do it through the plastic. This plastic is usually here because when you are heat transferring, it is protecting the vinyl, because essentially you need to have it underneath the heat press for over 30 seconds. I was doing only for 10 seconds and I was using a small Cricut handheld iron. Actually, you can see my handheld iron here. It's reflecting in the mirror. It's next to my embroidery machine. It is very small and handy. I didn't pull out my big heat press. There was no need for it because I removed the plastic. When you are working with HTV on embroidery machine, you have to remove the plastic part because needle cannot go through the plastic. It goes just through the vinyl. And I had a lot of scraps. I actually didn't even use these rolls. I was only using my scraps because my scraps are without plastic, and I was hand cutting them and pressing them for less than 10 seconds and it worked amazing. So cutting all of this in the end wasn't bad at all. It was a whole day project, but I actually enjoyed it, and at first I thought I would never repeat it, but honestly I would. If I have to do this one more time, I will definitely do it. Here you can see the colors. I used white and pink from Moda Vera, same as the black. There's not a lot of black on it, and the rest, the blue part, is the Snug as a bug yarn. So yeah, essentially you can embellish it the way you want it. I didn't want to use felt because I didn't have it. I had to buy the colored felt and I didn't want to do it. So I use my HTV and I really love it. I love how it's shiny and glittery and it's gonna stay there forever. The way I glue this, I used hot glue gun. I have a whole video that I'm gonna link down below where I have tested hot glue gun, fabric glue and 6000 or 7000. What is it called? You know what I mean. I have a whole video where I'm testing all 3 types of glue for amigurumi, and for me in that test hot glue gun has proven the best. So that's what I used here, and the white parts you can see, that is the glow in the dark yarn. I have double stranded this and just embroidered wherever I wanted. I'm not sure if you will be able to see. This is the tail. I'm just gonna hold it like this for you to see a bit of it. This is very heavy, like this is heavier than a child. This probably has over 3 or 4 kilos, so it is heavy. So when it comes to eyes, I did some glitter pink eyes. You can see how my eyes have cinched in a lot, and essentially I have lost some of the black part around eyes, but I don't think, my daughter said that's fine. She's not a fussy kid. She is very easygoing and she was fine with anything I do. So this is just the head and the beak, and I love how huggable it is. You can really see in the footage that I have filmed, it is such a nice and huggable plushie. It has weight to it and it feels like weighted blanket. It feels like really comforting plushie, and I love this. Like I said, I do see myself making another one if this one sells. Let me put it down because it's very hot in here and I'm overheating with everything on me because I don't have aircon on. I'm gonna see if this leftover of the yarn is enough for me to make the smaller version, but I really enjoyed the process. It was fun and unique make. It is definitely something that's gonna be a massive showstopper. The way I'm gonna present it is actually I'm gonna have a black lights on it so that it can show that it glows in the dark. I was really happy. Honestly, when I was doing photo shoot for it, we got so many people passing by and driving and looking at us, and we were definitely attraction. People like, it was huge. This blue is so vibrant in real life that you can see this from far away. I'm really happy with this make. Essentially, this just showcases how I have grown in crochet over the past 15 years and how my craft has progressed, and I'm really proud of myself that I'm capable to produce something like this. Even though the skill to crochet this plushie, they are basic skills. I don't know, it somehow makes me proud of myself that I'm able to make something huge as this, because people who are not crocheters don't understand how this craft even works. So I'm really proud of myself that I was able to create this plushie, and it's definitely gonna be my showstopper for my website and for the future Supanova, and I'm just happy. That's it. I'm just really happy about this plushie. Pattern was amazing. Like I said, it was clear, easy, nicely written. She unfortunately did receive some backlash because this pattern main photo looks AI. I don't think it is necessarily AI. I think it is just heavily edited because the photos are very vibrant, but when you go to her Instagram or TikTok, you can see the real plushie is not in those colors and it is not the true representation of her original plushie. Even in the photos, I went close to look on the main photo. On the tail, stitches look a bit different, so I'm not sure if the AI was involved in creating that photo or it was just the heavily edited photo. Still, don't be afraid. The pattern is not AI pattern. It is a true pattern that Amy created, and it's very nice pattern. I wish she didn't use those photos for the main pattern photo and Etsy listing because people might doubt when they see that photo. I assume people are doubting that it is AI pattern, but it is not. And it's not working in her favor, unfortunately. I didn't go on Etsy to search for the pattern. I followed her as a designer, and that's how I knew that she is real, that it is not an AI pattern. Since then, she has released the smaller version, some other different versions, and like I said, the blue alien. So in the end, the pattern result is amazing. I highly recommend this pattern. If this is too big for you to make, try the mini version. I will be giving a mini version try. I still have time until Supanova, but I think I'm gonna have at least 1 or 2 smaller versions for Supanova just to see how they go. And in case this big one sells, maybe my daughter will be happy with the smaller version. Since Amy has published this pattern, unfortunately she has been struggling with her pattern being stolen. So please be careful when you're buying this pattern because you don't want to be scammed. I will have pattern linked in my description box just for your safety, that you don't buy a stolen pattern and that you don't buy from a scammer, because there is a lot going on, unfortunately, and Amy is dealing with a lot. So her pattern, original Ikran, was stolen over 10 times. Then she decided to make a couple of different versions and she called for a tester call. I'm not sure of the whole story, but I think the new pattern design was stolen before she even managed to release it, because they just stole the Ikran and changed the colors to the new one, and she couldn't even claim the copyrights on the new one because she was still in developing phase. I hope that this is how it happened, because I've been following her on and off, so I'm not completely sure into the story. What has been happening lately, she's also selling these dragons on commission, so people can order a plushie from her, not just pattern. And there are a couple of scammers going around presenting as Amy and selling the plushie version and scamming people without actually sending the plushie. She is struggling because with the scammers she cannot deal with. She can deal with anyone who steals her pattern because she has copyrights on it and she can claim, but she cannot on the plushies that are made. My Ikran is gonna be available on my website and it's gonna be priced between 650 Australian dollars and 700 Australian dollars. I'm yet to decide the correct price because I want to actually honor her price. That is the price that she is selling this plushie in US. I did a conversion, so I don't remember the correct original US price that she is asking for this plushie, but I'm gonna honor her price because I'm aware of how much materials and time goes into making this plushie. And for her, they're selling like a hotcake. She cannot keep up with commissions. She's closing them down, opening them up, and it is a lot of work. For me, I'm not selling this plushie on commission. Don't reach to me out because I won't be making this plushie. I'm having it as a showstopper on my website and on my Supanova, and that's it. If it sells, it's gonna sell once and I will only make one more for my daughter. At this point, since it is gonna be on my website, I don't think it's gonna be open for worldwide shipping because this is too heavy. This would cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars for me to ship worldwide. I'm gonna have it only for Australia, and if anyone is willing to buy it in Australia, feel free to buy it. In case it sells before Supanova, I will be making one for my daughter as a showstopper, and that one won't be up for sale at Supanova. It is just gonna be a showstopper. At least at the moment, that's how I'm thinking, because I don't think I will have time to make more than one. Honestly, I'm happy not to even sell this one because it is essentially for my daughter, but in case it sells, I'm gonna make another one. So yeah, this is just for you to be aware that this plushie is selling like hotcake, and this pattern is very, very popular at the moment. So be aware of scammers and fake AI generated patterns. That's why if you want to be safe, go through my link just so you are safe that you are buying an actual pattern from Amy. So yeah, she's been struggling a lot with all these patterns being stolen and scammers going around. So if this pattern is something that you are interested in, feel free to support her because she really needs it at the moment. Now let's talk about the Supanova, because essentially that was the market that I was preparing this showstopper for. As you know, I did Supanova last year. That was my first Supanova and I got into it from the waiting list. It is really hard to get in Supanova because they had an ongoing community that's been with them for years and years, and to get into Supanova is really hard. Last year I was waitlisted, and 3 weeks before Supanova I was offered a spot, and of course I jumped in, and that was by far my best performing market I have ever done, and it was amazing. It was just amazing. So I talked about the girl who was behind me on last Supanova. Her name is Dewey. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm very bad with names and pronunciation because English is not my first language. I'm just gonna put here her name and her Instagram handle. She's very big on Instagram and she has beautiful makes, and after watching my Supanova video she has actually reached out to me, and ever since we have been in touch. When the Supanova opened their doors for application, they did some changes for this year because they have new portal to submit applications. She reached out to me and told me that the doors are open for applications and she could easily apply. Unfortunately, I couldn't. The problem is I'm not from the original group. I was let in from the waiting list, so my credentials were no longer working when I was trying to get into the portal. I reached out to get new credentials, but I feel like they didn't let me in on time on purpose because I wasn't the original. So by the time I was let in, the artist alley was already fully booked, and all I can do was put myself again on the waiting list. And I was completely fine with that. I knew that the chances for me to get back into Supanova were very slim. I just let go of everything. I put myself onto the waiting list and I said, whatever it is, it is. I'm just gonna start prepping in case I get in case I don't, I will do some markets and try to get rid of stock and I will be fine. And fast forward to January, I don't know what got into me. I decided to log into portal again to see what's happening, and I've noticed that exhibitor hall still had spaces. In case you haven't been to Supanova, exhibitor hall is where you will find a big brands or essentially a bigger spots, while artist alley you get only a table per stall holder. So even during Supanova last year I didn't have time to walk through. I walked through the artist alley, but I never left the building to go to exhibitor hall. My husband did, and he said it was massive, it was huge, and I talked to him and asked him, do you think it would be good for us to book maybe in exhibitor hall this time? And he said, we can try, because I know that some artists do sell there because they want a bigger space. Essentially you are getting 3x3 spot, and I think all of them are getting corner spots if I remember correctly, and having 3x3 spot is essentially gazebo spot. And I instantly got FOMO. I was like, maybe this is my last chance to get into Supanova, because from 2027 everything is changing. The way to get into Supanova, everything is gonna change from 2027 for Supanova, because they are gonna be strict when it comes to letting people in artist alley, because so far they were not as strict as people would want it, because there were some slips with AI, and like I mentioned last time, there were 14 crocheters, which I still don't mind. I did amazing, but I think they should look more into who they are getting in, and that is the purpose for the 2027. And I had instant FOMO and I decided I want to get into 2026 because this might be my last chance to do Supanova. Who knows what's gonna happen from 2027. And I booked exhibitor hall. It was expensive, I'm not gonna lie. For comparison, artist alley is around 500 something, around 600, and I paid exhibitor hall for $1,660. It's a lot. But the good news that this year's Supanova is gonna be 3-day Supanova. And I was like, I can justify paying that amount of money for 3 days, because essentially we are paying the same as we did last year. And last year it was 2 days, so they didn't even increase the price. This was also early bird price, which I was happy because I managed to cut on the early bird price. Yeah, I was happy. $1,660 is a lot of money, but it is a 3-day Supanova. I will have 3x3 spot, which I'm still deciding if I'm gonna go only with crochet or whether I'm gonna bring my embroidery. Last year, 1/3 of my sales were through my embroidery, and that was mostly t-shirts. I'm having hard time deciding if I'm gonna bring t-shirts or not. I'm gonna fully decide in May. The problem with t-shirts is I'm doing less markets. I'm scared to be left over with a lot of stock because t-shirts are not easy to sell or store, and t-shirts are a high upfront cost. My profit margin on my t-shirts is around 40 to 50%, while my profit margin on my crochet is between 80 and 90%. So it's a lot easier for me to do Supanova with just crochet and not bring t-shirts, where there is a potential for me to lose money on t-shirts just because of the lower profit margin and upfront costs. So I'm still deciding whether I'm gonna do t-shirts or not. The good thing is I have plenty of space in case I decide I want to bring it, but at the same time, if I'm gonna keep it with crochet only, I'm gonna just do the corner block and leave the inner space for me and my family, because my kids decided that this year they want to join us because they saw the footage from last year and they knew that the experience is amazing. And with the exhibitor hall, I'm getting 4 tickets included in the price, while for the Artist Alley you're getting only 2 tickets. And they just want to come with us because it was announced that Doc Brown from the Back to the Future or Christopher Lloyd is gonna be a guest star for the Supanova this year, and they love the movie. They've been watching all the movies lately, so yeah, they've been just enjoying the movie and they've been enjoying Doc Brown character, so they are looking forward to meeting Christopher Lloyd. And there is a lot going on Supanova. Supanova is a whole day of adventures and shopping spree. I'm not gonna lie, my husband last year spent a lot of money while I was earning, he was spending, and I expect my kids are gonna do the same, but because they are pretty much into collectibles and things like that, so I don't mind. I'm happy to have them with me, and that's why having 3x3 spot is gonna be massive for us, because in Artist Alley I wouldn't be able to bring them with me because there's no place to sit, there's no place to stand. But this time having 3x3, I would just have a corner block. I will have 2 sides of my spot, and the inside will be our private area where we can just have a seat and relax when they get tired and they are no longer wanna participate in everything that will be going on that weekend. So yeah, I'm really excited. I know this is a huge expense compared to what I had last year, and I am also aware that last year could have been the beginner's luck. I did over 7,000 Australian dollars, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't expect to earn that much this year, just because I do think I had a beginner's luck. And speaking to other crocheters, they didn't do as good, so I'm lowering my expectations, even though I'm paying 3 times more than I'm paid last year. I would be really happy if I can get half of that and just cover my exhibitor hall fee and earn some extra money and just have a good day, because I had such an amazing experience with Supanova and I'm looking forward to experience that again. No matter what the outcome is, even if that flops on me with how much I'm paying for this exhibitor hall, I'm looking into it as my last chance to join Supanova, because who knows how it's gonna go from the next year. And I didn't want to miss out on that, and I'm excited. I need to crochet more. I need to push myself to work more to build my stock in case it goes really good. I'm also not sure how exhibitor hall is visited compared to the Artist Alley. I'm just not sure whether the customers know that even though I'm an exhibitor hall, that I'm still a small artist that didn't get a spot in Artist Alley, but I'm here paying triple price just to be there, just to showcase my work and have a have a wonderful weekend. Also, just from the Supanova portal, you can actually, on the end, they actually do offer you to upgrade from Artist Alley to Exhibitor Hall, which I assume people do that, so I'm not gonna be the only artist in the Exhibitor Hall, because let's face it, Exhibitor Hall has a lot of imported goods, people who are just the resellers, they are not usually handcrafted, so a lot of collectibles that are just the resellers, you know what I mean, and I'm fine with that. It's my decision to be in Exhibitor Hall and risk everything, not knowing where I'm gonna be placed and if this is all gonna work in my favor or against me. I don't know. I'm here for the experience. I want to try it, I want to do it, and yeah. 3 days of Supanova. I'm really excited. I need a lot to prep. I need a lot to work. I know this for the past 2 months, but I just didn't want to talk about it before we came closer to the date. So Supanova is happening in June. It is gonna be from 19th till 21st of June, and the working hours for all 3 days are from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. It's gonna be a long weekend, but I'm excited for it. And that is essentially it. Just the announcement of the big Supanova Comic Con and gaming convention that I'm doing, showing you my biggest project I have ever done. Stay tuned for future market preps, market makes. I have a lot to prepare for this. My Supanova video from last year was by far my most watched video on this channel. In case you're interested how that went, feel free to check it. I might link it down below. In case I forgot, feel free to search. It was definitely my most viewed video, and I'm looking forward to bring you along for this year. With all of that, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting!